So we're going to look at question 2 now on Core Pure 2, Edexcel paper, June 2023. And this is a Maclaurin series question. Really strange, the very first bit of this. They literally say write down the Maclaurin series of e to the x in ascending powers of x up to and including the term in x cubed. That's in your formula booklet, if you don't remember it. So all you have to do is turn to your formula booklet and copy it out for a very, very easy 1 mark. So it's now the only thing I would say is they probably want you to evaluate the factorials. So it's going to be 1 plus x squared over 2 factorial, which is 2, plus x cubed over 3 factorial, which is 6. Wow, there we go. What an easy mark that is. Anyway, part B though, hence without differentiating, determine the Maclaurin series of this, e to the x minus 1. Okay, so hopefully you realise I'm going to have to use that expansion in there. Now they've asked you to go up to x cubed, obviously this goes on to infinity, but it seems like we don't really need to go beyond that when we replace this e to the x with that expansion. So I'm going to do that, e to the x, which is 1 plus x squared over 2 plus x cubed over 6 minus 1. We know this goes on, but we're just going to do that. Okay, we're just going to do those first few terms. The ones obviously cancel. So we've got e to the x plus x squared over 2 plus x cubed over 6. Now then, let's be sensible about this. Isn't that split into e to the x times e to the x squared over 2 times e to the x cubed over 6? Obviously, when we times together, we add our powers, don't we? So that splits into this. So now we are going to do each of the expansions of these multiplied together. Now we only want the terms up to and including x cubed. So we want to go up to x cubed. So e to the x, we know what that is, it's up there. So 1 plus x squared over 2 plus x cubed over 6. Times e to the x squared over 2. Well, that's that same expansion, but with the x replaced with x squared over 2. So it's going to be 1 plus x squared over 2 plus x squared over 2, but with the x replaced by x squared over 2. So it's going to be x squared over 2 squared over 2. Now let's just stop there for a second, because before I go any further, okay, when I expand that out, won't that give me an x to the 4 term? And that's beyond what we need. We want x cubed, so when we start doing our multiplying out, which we're going to do at the end there, already we don't need that term. So let's take that out and ignore it. We don't need anything beyond there because it's going to give us a term that's bigger than x to the cubed. So similarly, this one here, when we expand this out, we're going to have 1 plus x cubed over 6 instead of just x. So we're replacing the x with x cubed over 6. And then there's no need to go any further with that one, because x squared, so we're going to have to do x cubed over 6 squared. That's going to give us too big a power. So those are the only terms we really need. Now it's up to you how you want to do this. You can just go, right, what are my combinations? Remembering I've got to keep under x cubed that are going to work. So it'd be pointless doing all that times that, because that's going to give us an x to the 5 term, way beyond what we need. So you may want to decide, well, shall I just multiply together these first 2 and then see what I can multiply that by? So let's do that, shall we? Or you could just go, what are the combinations that work to give me a term under x cubed? I probably would do the combinations personally, but I imagine most of you will want to multiply these out. So let's multiply it out. So 1 times that is 1 plus x squared over 2. X times that is x plus x cubed over 2. x squared over 2 times that is x squared over 2. And then I'm not going to do any more, because x squared over 2 times x squared over 2, that's going to give me x to the 4. No need. So I've still got to do this one though. X cubed over 6 times 1, x cubed over 6. And I don't do that times that, because that's going to give me an x to the 5 term. Way too much. Might have to tidy up here. So that's going to give me 1 plus single x plus x squared over 2, x squared over 2, so that's just x squared. And then x cubed over 2, x cubed over 6 gives me 2x cubed over 3. Wow. Okay. And apparently we've got to times that. Oops, let me put that in there. By 1 plus x cubed over 6. So, again, only turns up to x cubed. So, 1 times each of these. 1 plus x cubed over 6. X times each of these. X times 1, x. X times x cubed over 6. Don't forget that. We don't need to go any further there. So, it's literally just going to be x squared times 1, x squared. And 2x cubed over 3 times 1, 2x cubed over 3. Because all the other terms are giving me powers bigger than x cubed. Simplify it off. 1 plus x squared plus x cubed over 6 plus 2x cubed over 3 is 5x cubed over 6. And we're done. And that's 5 marks doing that bit. Not too bad at all, I think. But this idea of kind of using the Maclaurin expansion of that and then separating out is quite nice. Okay?